You performed in Ireland, all right?
Yes, sir.
And you've talked about this because something went a little awry when you performed in Ireland, which I found unusual because I would think such a lovely country. What happened?
Well, I'm not Irish, which is fine, but I'm from Boston, and I hang out, my people are Boston Irish people.
Sure.
So I thought I'm kind of like that. And so I got on stage and...
This is in, like, Dublin
This
or
is
something?
in Dublin,
yeah.
At a festival that doesn't really represent the Dublin people. Right. These are more like the meatheads that come and are just like, beer, and like they don't know what they're seeing.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like one guy walked in with 50 of his buddies from college, and they just... Imagine if someone came to this taping and just brought friends and thought, we'll just talk during it and this will be our high school reunion. Like that, like people were using the venue for that. Yeah. And so I go out on stage and they go, your next comic is an American, boo.
They were booing the fact that you were American?
Meanwhile, there were Friends reruns on all day long in the hotel. I'm like, oh, I guess you don't like, unless it's Rachel, Ross, and Chandler, you don't like Americans, you know?
Yeah.
And so...
So they booed you even when you just came up before you said a word?
Yeah, and then I came out and I was like telling jokes. I'm like, well, I'm divorced. And this very, like, I assume Catholic woman in the front row goes, you should have made it work. But it was like, she wasn't playful. I couldn't play with her.
Right.
So later, the guy that runs the festival took us all out for drinks because we all needed them, a bunch of the Americans. And I was telling the bartender, I was like, look at my Twitter. It was like, you suck, go die. People hated me.
This is all the people in Ireland were tweeting mean things about you?
The people in the audience,
in
yeah.
the audience, yeah.
And so he goes, oh, can I say the word I'm gonna say, no, I can't.
Well, the audience has voted, and I'm told that's how this process works.
I'll say the C word.
Good save.
Yeah. I was out for a drink, and the bartender said, everyone in Dublin's a bunch of drunk C words.
Yeah.
And he said, you should tweet that. They'll love it. You'll be right on their level. And so I did, and then I got so drunk I forgot I tweeted it. I went to bed, woke up the next day feeling great, and I checked my Twitter, and I had death threats, and they picked it up on the news. Like the TMZ of Dublin was like, comedian comes here and calls us all a bunch of C words.
Yeah.
And a bunch of my show sold out the next day. People came to see what I had to say.
I'm glad they just didn't. Did they bring, like, bats and sticks and?
They just brought like bottles of booze, but they didn't want to throw them at me because they're a bunch of drunken C words.
Yeah, no. You really fixed this problem.
Yeah. So I apologized to them. I just sat on the stage looking really sad, and I was like, I made a mistake, and it was very Catholic. I did confession.
That's. I think you did the right thing.
Yeah, and I stole a donut that night, and a cop didn't care. So I was like, it's kind of a cool country.